And if you're on Facebook, make sure you check in and say hello. We want to hear from you. And it looks like we're going to have an on-time departure of the podcast here. One thing never changed, and it's cables. Cables always get tangled up underneath my feet. All right. I think we're ready to launch this bad boy. One more button. And yep, that's good. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from FEMA Region 5 in the new media production studio hideout designed by Audiomeet.com in Coldwater, Michigan. The lead stories are the FTC has sued Marlboro and Juul. Amazon stopped selling PPE to the general public. T-Mobile and Sprint have merged. And Facebook debuts its standalone messenger on Mac and PC. I want to welcome you to episode 1435 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, April 2nd. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You also can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming an insider of this podcast. We're live once again at geeknewscentral.com/live, live.geeknewscentral. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch, just about everywhere anyone can be. Hello, Greg. Hello, Clint. Hey, Greg, how's your 14-day quarantine going out there in Aloha Land? So welcome everyone to the show. For those of you who are brand new listeners to the show, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for checking the show out for the very first time. And the most important part is you get over to geeknewscentral.com. We get you subscribed to the show. When you get subscribed to the show, you'll never miss a single episode as long as you click on one of those links, either be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and subscribe on Androids, subscribe to a Stitcher feed, or simply by email. It doesn't really matter. We get you hooked up here with being a subscriber of the show. You can check out the newsletter as well. Newsletter link is on the website. Everything I talk about during the show tonight will go out in the newsletter. Contains essentially a link, a little note that's the same as in the blog post, along with all the links to all the shows. Now, of course, we want you to listen to the show on the variety of places that this podcast is at. And you can check the show out. Well, like I said, you can find out where we're at live. You can listen on blueberry.com. You can listen on your smart home device by using the magic word to launch that device and say, play the podcast Geek News Central. You can join our chat room. We've got a Mastodon chat server at geeknews.chat. We've got a Discord channel. We have a Slack channel. Details are in the show notes on how to join the Discord channel. So that way you'll stay connected with us at all times. That's really, really important. And of course, you can contact me via email or email's the first place, geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, on Twitter @geeknews. And the most important part is I'm here on Facebook, of course, just as often as I'm anywhere else. And you want to pay attention to our partner shows as well. Our partner shows include the GNC Week in Review with Kurt Corliss. We've got the Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, which I just literally hung up the phone with Don not 2 minutes ago. The Pro Gear site being written by my team, the New Media Show, which we did a special episode today on newmediashow.com. And of course, we have the Podcast Legend Show, which is expired. But anyway, you can always pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. And the most important part of this show is supported by our sponsor. Our sponsor is at GoDaddy. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy is that sponsor. We want you to save money on GoDaddy products and services. You can do that very simply. Again, just go over to the website. And once you're on the website, you'll find all these great deals, whether it be 30% off new product purchases, a $4.99.com, $1 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, $1 a month manage WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain and a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. Again, all those codes are there. Just click on the link to lock in the savings or use the code upon checkout. Definitely pay attention when you're getting those economy hosting accounts and that free domain name, because they will try to lock you in for a 3-year deal. That's okay if you do that, but just understand that it's not going to be $12 when you check out. You change that multiplier to 1 year, it's $1 a month. $12 gets you out the door with a free domain on a product that you can try to practice, maybe building a website, building a business. Many of you are at home, sadly. Maybe the industry you're in has laid you off. Might be a good time. So for $12, you can make an investment in yourself or an investment on a new business. Definitely check that out. The GoDaddy Website Builder is a great one too. Your choice of personal business or business plus plans. That is a little more expensive on a month-to-month basis. It is designed for business people, but again, you can get away with those economy or WordPress hosting. Lots of plugins there to be able to really make your website shine. And again, check those offers out, see what's available. Go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Get yourself locked in to save. Use my savings, save up to 87%. Your use of those codes really keeps the lights on, keeps my insurance fed. So we appreciate your support. We really, really do. All right, so let me just talk just a little bit here about, oh man, if you watch the news, you're going to like having coronary. All right, I'm just warning you. Hey, there is a lot of Wizards watching today, so that's interesting. Hey, Wizards, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Hey, Clint, how you doing? Toby, how you doing? So anyway, and that's secret code work for those of you that don't know. I'm just kidding. It's just today I left it off all day, and I turned it on at 5 for the president's briefing. And I think the thing that triggered me, yes, I got triggered, and I never get triggered, right? Is when I heard they're having these black market sales of personal protective equipment. So you've got the FEMA buying stuff, you've got governors buying stuff, and then you got brokers buying stuff. Instead of buying it for hospitals here in America, they're boxing that stuff up and shipping it overseas. So we're buying stuff and bringing it on airplanes, and then because they're using the supply system to feed all the hospitals, people are getting in there and picking stuff off. Well, that's coming to an end tomorrow, and I would not want to be on the receiving end of the Department of Justice when they come and kick your damn door in on this PPE that you're buying as an American and sending away from America just to make some extra bucks. Now, people can say it's the American way, right? But what if your mom is in a hospital and needs, someone that's going to be taking care of them to be protected, and vice versa? So I hope they string these folks up by their toenails, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens with this. I'm sure it's going to be more in the news as the reporters start to dig their heels in and give them just another thing to talk about. And but the thing that makes me mad, the thing that I'm still a little bit grumbling about, is a few days ago, my governor here in state of Michigan, she had basically told doctors that she could not use what everyone has pretty much known up to this point in at least the last week or week and a half, is that these drugs that the president and the FDA and stuff have approved in treating patients with severe symptoms, she had basically, up until very late this week, had threatened physicians prescribing the drug, say they were subject to an administrative action should they continue to use the medication. Well, today, my governor, Michigan Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer, has requested emergency supply of the drugs, touted as having success treating patients with severe symptoms of novel coronavirus, and a reversal from the state's directive to medical professionals last week to avoid the medication for this purpose. Michigan this week has requested hydrochloroquine and chloroquine from the strategic national stockpile for physicians to help treat patients with COVID-19. after the FDA over the weekend granted emergency use authorization for the anti-malaria drug, which other jurisdictions had already said go forth and be successful. It's not the miracle drug. It's not going to help everybody, but this state has a 3.86% death rate. 3.86% death rate, where New York and most other states are hovering in the 1.3, 1.4 range. So is this the difference between 4% and 1.5% death rate per 100 patients? It makes you think a little bit here. Now, if I was a family member that lost a loved one here in the state of Michigan, and they were refused the access to this drug that was at least for 2 weeks on the radar, being known to have had success in France and also had been used as a general regimen in China, I think I'd get myself an attorney. It's and not to say we're going to save everybody, but at least 2 studies, it says it's looking pretty good. And hospital physicians and nurses in New York are using it as a prophylactic. They basically protect themselves. Now, what is this? Let's just be clear. We know that this is a malaria drug. I took this drug for months on end, and doxycycline as well. Took a variety of drugs to prevent malaria when I was traveling overseas for many, many years. And especially in the early years, in the 80s, being in places, even after I got all my shots, I was on this stuff for years. They care about my heart. They didn't want me getting malaria. So I was using it as a prophylactic, as a preventive measure to catching malaria, not to treat malaria. So these doctors and nurses, I think, are on track here to have done what they've done. And yet, in this state, out of spite or whatever reason, she decided to threaten doctors with administrative action if they used it. And I'm just not happy. I know a few other states did it as administrative actions to stop doctors from like prescribing it for themselves and for their parents and their kids. But if you got doctors that want to do that for their parents or their kids, then they're going to do that for their patients. You know, I think all of us would probably at this point would like to have our hands on a little bit of that supply. People will say, oh, never take a drug without your doctor's permission. Gee, whatever. I know a lot of people do and have and will do in the future. You can do that at your own risk. And I'm not saying we should be using that when people are dying. But after this is all over, I can absolutely guarantee you there will be people going online and ordering this stuff from India and bringing it in and stashing it. I don't care. People, oh, don't do that. Yeah, what? Just go ahead. Go about your business. So anyway, that's kind of my irritant right now. Now, I will open up the call line at the end of the show today again. If you want to call in and basically those of you watching live, if you want to stick around and get through the actual tech stuff here, instead of me bitching about the doctors, which, not doctors, the governor. I'm not complaining about the doctors. They're doing heavy duty right now, and they need all our accolades and support. But when I'm done, I guess I'm done here talking about the government, we can move on. But some of you, including, I can't wait to hear Adam Curry in the No Agenda Show talk about this announcement. The FTC today has announced that they're going to sue to unwind Marlboro, yes, the cigarette company, their unwind their $12.8 billion investment. And we talked about this on this show. Many of you are vaping. Maybe you don't care. But the two companies are accused of illegally restraining trade. They were the ones that really had a lot of influence, had stuff run through Congress, just simply destroyed other competitors. And at the time, even people upset within Juul due to the sudden hypocritical stance of claiming to be a way to help people quit smoking, and then having a major investor that was a tobacco giant. So according to the FTC, the partnership came up after Alteria, which is the company that owns brands like Marlboro and Virginia Slims, agreed not to compete with the upstart and getting exchange for that big stake. And it did. They conspired, and they really turned the tables on a lot of companies. And all this stuff about strawberry flavored vaping and all that stuff, all those flavors, they were instrumental. They were ultimately instrumental in pushing for that ban. Now, I don't care if you vape. That's your business. I don't care if you smoke. I don't care if you drink. Well, that's your choice, right? And I don't care if you smoke. And everyone says, oh, the kids are going to be smoking strawberry vapes. Well, the kids will be smoking cigarettes otherwise. But anyway, the flavored vapes are gone. And now Juul and the FTC are going to come head to head. I hope they just get ripped a new one, to be honest with you. I hope the FTC comes down really, really, really hard on them. So, yeah, Greg, I won't read your comment on the air live, but yeah, I wonder if she would have. One could only ask, one could only wonder. So anyway, hey, thanks for being here. If you're watching live, make sure you say hello. Where I'm primarily watching is on Facebook. So if you're on YouTube or if you're on Twitter or wherever it may be, just come over to facebook.com/Cochran. You'll find me there. You can participate, the public stream. Come over and say hello. Next thing up, Amazon is going to stop selling N95 and surgical masks to the public. So if you're trying to get just a surgical mask, nothing that was an N95, you can't. You're done. You can't order these anymore. It will prioritize hospitals and governments instead. So now, my sister the other day came, she's a knitter, and she was knitting some masks. And I was telling her, I said, that's not going to help in any way, shape, or form. She goes, no, this is going to go over the mask. And I'm like, and then you're just going to have another thing you got to wash? So I know they're making masks and people are selling stuff, and that's going to be a market that's going to be big, huge from now on, but you're not going to get it through Amazon. They're going to prioritize hospitals and governments instead. I have one N95 mask that I found. One. I don't have 10. I have one. And, what good is one? You can use it for one day and you have to throw it away or whatever. Unless you have one of those machines, but no one has those except for hospitals now. So that's the news out of what's going on with Amazon. Some updates. T-Mobile has merged with Sprint, except California's pissed because they went ahead and did it without California's permission. So I guess it's better to ask forgiveness than ask for permission. The California, whatever the tax board or whatever that group is there, the 25 layers of bureaucracy in California to do business. And it's really that level of bureaucracy. Basically told them to wait till the 16th, but I think T-Mobile and Sprint has just about had enough. So don't worry. It doesn't change too much. With more than 100 million users, the two carriers now have a customer base closer to scale to larger rivals AT&T and Verizon. There will be a big change coming, especially for Sprint customers who all of a sudden have a new provider, from devices and 5G to rate plans and features. And here's the main thing. Your phone's going to still work. Just because the merger is closed does not mean that your phone will no longer connect. Both T-Mobile and Sprint networks will be up and running, and devices that connect them should be able to do so without any interruptions. With Sprint joining T-Mobile, users on both networks should start to see improvements in coverage. In fact, this process has already started, with T-Mobile expanding a roaming agreement to let Sprint users onto its network as part of its response to the pandemic. And so it's just going to happen automatically. You get free roaming. It's all one company now. But we'll see what happens over time with billing and 5G and plans and all that stuff. So that is forthcoming. But now they are one. So Sprint lives to see another day. And T-Mobile might be able to compete a little bit more with the big boys. And depending on where you live, here where I live out in the country, T-Mobile is by far king. Verizon is close behind. AT&T is absolute. And so we'll see what happens there. Facebook has debuted. Now check this out. Don't think the coronavirus didn't affect them. They debuted a standalone messenger and a messenger app for both Mac and PCs. So now you're going to have free video calls and chats to your desktop. Again, it's a separate app completely. It's not tied directly to Facebook. So that's big news on that front. So again, you can do unlimited and free group video calls. The desktop app will sync across mobile, offer notifications for new messages, and support dark mode and GIFs. In the past month, Facebook says it's seen more than 100% increase in people using their browser, of course. Their desktop browser, using Messenger, I guess. So you'll no longer have to juggle browser tabs in Windows. It's a separate app all by itself. Okie doke. Let's see what happens there. Zoom, boy, they really have come under scrutiny. I did 4 Zoom meetings today. Actually, each of them was anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour. The last one of the day was an hour 5. Solid performance. I've been paying for that service for more than a year. My company has now a total of 4 of those accounts going. My devs have one. My sales and marketing has one. I have one independently. And then one of my sales guys has one independently. So we got 4 Zoom accounts that we're paying for annually. And what we are finding out that Zoom was sharing data with Facebook. They were sharing data with LinkedIn. So even though I'm paying for something, I'm not a freemium user. I'm a paid customer. I guess they still were looking to make more money on the side. So apparently they've shut that all down. The New York Times discovered that Zoom is supporting a data mining feature automatically match users' names and email addresses to their LinkedIn profiles when they were signed in, even if they were anonymous or using a pseudonym on their call. If another user in the meeting was subscribed to a service called LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they were able to access the LinkedIn profiles of other participants in the Zoom meeting by clicking an icon next to their names without those users' knowledge or consent. They were doing very naughty things, and I'm doing a little bit of investigation on this myself. It appears, and I haven't I will just wait to talk about this later. But the CEO, who is claiming, I don't know anything, we'll see where this comes in. And, Big Brother, China, all this, it could be very well related. And if it is, Zoom is going to be in deep, 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 deep doo-doo. So time will tell. All right. Moving off here, Google. This is a weird one. Google's going to begin lifting coronavirus ad ban. Now, check this out. And I'm reading this directly from The Verge. And you tell me what you think about this. Google start to lift its ban on coronavirus advertising this week after its policy caught fire from Democratic lawmakers who feared it may bolster misinformation from the White House. Over the next few days, Google will begin to allow government entities, hospitals, medical providers, and NGOs to run ads related to the novel coronavirus on its platform. Since February, the most non-governmental advertisers have been barred from running ads related to COVID-19 to stifle organizations seeking to spread misinformation or profit off the panic. Democrats grew concerned that the broad ban allowed the White House to boost its response to the pandemic, but prohibited Democrats from criticizing it. The policy was designed to protect users and block ads that try to capitalize on short-term events like natural disasters, a Google spokesperson told The Verge. Now we're looking a way to support limited COVID-19 related ads from hospitals, medical providers, government entities, and NGOs. In the coming days, though, Google will expand the pool of advertisers allowed to run ads. In an email obtained by The Verge, Google head of industry Mark Beatty told the advertiser, "We're planning to allow quote-unquote other advertisers, including political organizations, to run ads related to COVID-19. We'll have more information to share on this in the next few days." What say you? Sounds to me that the president's getting too much attention and the Democrats don't like it. So we'll see what kind of ads. Keep your eyes out. Please, I want you all to be on the watch. And we'll see. I have no problem with ads being run from NGOs, government entities, hospitals, medical providers. That's fine if you're doing a public service announcement on educating and not selling something. But what happens, I want to see what the political ads are. And when you start seeing the political ads, please let me know what the context of those ads were. We'll see what they're saying that people should do. All right. So geeknews@gmail.com. How come we've got 200 and some thousand people infected with coronavirus? We've got 10 million people at a minimum. I bet it's more like 20 because people can't get through to unemployment offices. Unemployed. We have nurses, doctors, EMTs, all in the medical field stressed to the absolute max. And these frickin' politicians can't leave politics alone for more than an hour. It just makes you just see where we're really at and where people's priorities are. Do you think with some of the actions that have happened lately, I don't want to make this show a political show, but it just smells and reeks to high heaven. It really, really does when we have people dying by the hundreds every day. NASA is asking its employees for new ideas to combat coronavirus. It's calling its workforce to come up with creative ways that the agency can help fight the coronavirus pandemic. So they just had a delivery of a SpaceX Dragon resupply craft, and they were all wearing portable breathing gear while entering the spacecraft just in case there are any particulates or irritants in the air that could have come loose while launching to space. So they were even worried about the virus hitching a ride. Didn't they spray that thing down before it came into space? It makes me think just a little bit here. I'm hoping that they disinfected that. They had to. That's part of their normal deal. Air filtered it out and everything. So anyway, for more than 6 years, NASA has overcome a range of unique challenges. Now the agency is looking to leverage its expertise and capabilities to help the nation with the unprecedented challenges of coronavirus. So they're looking for out-of-the-box ideas. And this is what I talked about on the last show, right? Out-of-the-box ideas. In times of national need, people come to us with out-of-the-box national needs, come out-of-the-box ideas. It's just like, them catching these black marketers of PPE. Talk about the most unpatriotic thing you could ever do. But, people are always looking to get rich on the back of other. Why let a good crisis go to waste, right? with all the trillions of dollars being spent, you can absolutely guarantee people are going to get their pockets filled one way or the other. Sadly. In a little bit of good news, Apple's highlighting apps to help families manage autism amid the coronavirus. For Autism Acceptance Day, the company is calling attention to tools that help parents with neurodiverse children. So, these parents with kids on the spectrum, they are typically have, at least at school age, they have their kids in school and get in a program, and the parents get a few hours of relief to be able to work and take care of what they need to take care of. But these moms and dads are all home, and oftentimes kids on the spectrum need a lot of extra help. It's just a simple fact. And it's good that Apple has done this for Autism Acceptance Day. And we got to think about, regardless of a child or children within families' status, it's a big change with all the moms and dads are home, and with all the kids, that's a big challenge in just itself. We're not used to operating this way for many families in the United States. Now, there's a lot of stay-home moms and dads and people homeschool and all that. They're having a little bit of a laugh about this, but there's a lot of people that have dual parents that work. And this is the first experience with having to be with their kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's going to be an interesting ride. Lots to be learned out of this, I think. And hopefully a lot of positive things will come out too, right? So you want to be an astronaut? Well, 12,000 people applied to fly to the moon as NASA Artemis astronauts. Of course, many applied. Only a few will be chosen. I think they're going to pick like 36 candidates or something like that. A dozen. They've narrowed it down to a dozen astronaut candidates. That's crazy. Or they're going to narrow it down to a dozen. And it's been a few years since they had an astronaut class, per se. So exciting stuff for those that win a ride. You're at home, you're dealing with your email inbox, that could be a problem right now. I know I'm getting lots of I'll be one thing, you have some disposable income. If you actually do have some money that you can spend, deals. I'm getting deals, lots of deals, 50% off this, 75% off this. I'm really watching, especially from a business perspective, that stuff is coming in. I saw a ad deal that came in. It was an item that maybe 6 months ago I would have needed, that I actually did pay full retail for, that was on sale today from a major electronics supplier for like 65% off. I'm just like, geez. So desperate times, people are marking stuff way, way down. So be aware of those deals coming to your inbox. But anyway, if you still have too much clutter, there's some Chrome extensions that will declutter your overflowing Gmail inbox. It'll help you with that. This is some tools that are provided by Lifehacker. Information will be up in the show notes tonight as well. Facebook has pulled down fake accounts linked to Egypt and France. So there was they pulled down more than 300 fake accounts, pages, and groups tied to France and Egypt. These were fake news sites that were running ads like, hey, Egypt is the safest place to travel to right now, intermixed with all kinds of positive message type of, it looked like news, but it was really trying to promote tourism and a variety of other things. No one's going anywhere. No one's going anywhere. You want to travel international, where can you go international now and not have to spend 14 days in your hotel room? That would be a cool puzzle. Someone come up with the actual destinations that you can still go to and not get locked up upon arrival. You can't even go from state to some states to states now without them wanting you to self-quarantine for 14 days, let alone go internationally. So anyway, and they were interspreading coronavirus stuff in those accounts too, so Facebook got rid of them. Wi-Fi 6E has become official. The FCC is going to vote on the rules this month. The new spectrum will make extremely low latency, high throughput Wi-Fi available. And of course, the new 6 gigahertz band is going to run at 5.925 to 7.125 gigahertz. So lots of penetration power with that frequency. And, today isn't the main reason, the main worry today isn't how far Wi-Fi will reach. It's really how much bandwidth you can get through those devices. The legacy 2.4 gigahertz band is almost entirely unusable for many urban dwellers. It's crowded with microwave ovens, Bluetooth headsets, and every Internet of Things device imaginable. So, it's going to make some room here. And of course, the Wi-Fi spectrum is already pretty complex. And but anyway, some more spectrum for Wi-Fi 6E, which will probably start showing up in devices in the next year or so. So this is being voted on, and the path forward will be laid out. A good article on it for those of you that want to follow it. NASA's bringing back its iconic worm logo to mark the return of NASA's return to space. It's beautiful. Look at this. This is a picture of the Falcon 9 rocket that will launch the Crew Dragon spacecraft with NASA astronauts on board. So getting ready for the launch. So I think that iconic logo. Sometimes some stuff is just, you shouldn't mess with some stuff, right? And that's a logo that they just need to re-implement. And the space agency said the retro-looking logo will be stamped on the side of the Falcon 9. And what's the date? What are the date are we going to do this? When are we back to space? Is it in May? Is that the date? Or have they pushed it? They haven't said what exact date it would be. I know the original plan was in May, but with everything going on, who knows? I'm excited. We've been out of the lift business since we retired the space shuttle. And it pleases my heart greatly to see that it will be a commercial contractor that's going to put people back at the International Space Station, not having to be lifted by the Russians anymore. And we'll put our own astronauts in American-made stuff. So very, very exciting. All right, eBay is waiving seller fees for new businesses to help shuttered retailers move online. And the company's new and up-and-running program waives seller fees through June 30th. Greg's saying, what? Really? He said, Hawaii governor is trying to ban all tourists travel to Hawaii. I understand why. I'm just surprised Hawaii has gotten out as light as it has at this time with all the international travel to Hawaii and everything that's come in from everywhere, all the Japanese and everything. So to only have 200 and some cases at this point, I think is pretty remarkable for Hawaii, to be honest with you. The trade winds help, Greg, because the trade winds move the virus offshore than anything that's airborne. So I think that helps a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, that's interesting. You're going to promote my podcast on the iTunes store. Someone just sent me a message on Messenger. Please be careful. Don't be doing that. All right. So you're having some bandwidth issues at home. You have an Android phone? Well, there's a good article here, how to share your Android phone's mobile connection by tethering or hotspot. It gives you a little information there. And so anyway, there's information in the show notes on how to do that. HBO is making a ton of TV shows and movies available for free to non-subscribers. There's no Game of Thrones, unfortunately. But they're making a number of its original series popular. The Wire, Detective Pikachu, The Sopranos. The movie is being described by Variety as a goodwill gesture by Warner Media, an effort from the conglomerate to provide entertainment to people stuck at home due to the novel coronavirus. More than 500 hours of content will be made available, with many of HBO's top series among the list. So if you don't have the HBO app loaded on your TV, on your smart home device, get that loaded and you get access to these free movies to supplement all the stuff that you're going through already. Oh my God. Why are you trying to ask me this? The computer said, you want to reboot now? Macs aren't supposed to do that. Tesla has beat expectations with strong first quarter delivery numbers. Deliveries grew 40% year over year despite what's going on in the country. They produced 102,672 vehicles in the first quarter of 2020 and delivered 88,400 vehicles to customers, the company announced to investors. While the delivery number is down from the previous quarter, overall results were better than analysis expected, sending Tesla stock up more than 10%. And after-hours trading, the fall in deliveries isn't surprising. December 31st, 2019 was the deadline for Tesla customers to receive a federal electric vehicle tax credit. So customers thinking about buying a Tesla car had a strong incentive to do it before the end of the year. And of course, Tesla saw a similar decline in deliveries between Q4 18 and Q1 2019, due in part to earlier step in the tax credit year-long phase out. So a lot of those tax credits for a variety of vehicle vendors are going away. Google has donated Chromebooks and Wi-Fi hotspots to California students, and all the company will provide 4,000 Chromebooks and 100,000 hotspots. So that's a healthy number. Good luck. Good, thank you. Of course, Google has its own mobile spectrum too. So Amazon has responded to backlash with increased protection for its workers. It will increase temperature scans and provide more surgical masks. So earlier this week, of course, we know that they had a walkout at Instacart, Whole Foods, and so forth. But Amazon is sharing its plan to increase employee temperature checks and provide surgical masks to workers across U.S. and Europe. In the U.S., workers from at least 19 Amazon warehouses have reportedly tested positive. Amazon says it's already checking more than 100,000 employees' temperatures daily. And on another note, they've hired 80,000 of the 100,000 employees they were looking to hire. So if you're out of work and you want to work for Amazon, there's not a lot of time left. By early next week, more locations are also supposed to receive surgical masks. The particle-blocking N95 mask Amazon order will be donated to medical workers or sold at cost to the government. So no Amazon workers will get N95 masks. And it has temporarily increased pay for warehouse and delivery workers. So Amazon, that's what everybody's shopping. I got stuff that won't deliver now until May. Google is investing $6.5 million to fight coronavirus-related misinformation. Interesting. The company is also considering how it can highlight fact checkers in Google News. So Google says this funding will be donated to organizations combating misinformation around the globe with an immediate focus on coronavirus initiatives. We'll see the company approach the problem from several different angles, working with a broad slate of nonprofits. So they're going to work with a group called First Draft and Full Fact and Meltita.es. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. I know that podcasters that are posting podcasts on coronavirus have to be real careful now about the titles that they're using, because Spotify is kicking shows off Spotify for coronavirus-related titles that are a little bit maybe deceptive. Like, will vitamin C help you prevent coronavirus? Well, it'll help you stay more healthy overall, allegedly, but you should never say that's going to help you from not catching coronavirus. That's an obvious kind of like implied thing, implied treatment. And that show got booted. They were gone. And I know that other organizations, Facebook is giving people 30-day breaks. YouTube is, demonetizing media. So a lot of people are trying to take advantage, as we've already heard about, tonight, about this black market on PPE. So even digital marketeers are. Consumers have spent a record $23.4 billion on apps in Q1 2020, thanks to being stuck indoors. So your appetite for buying stuff hasn't went away. You're buying apps. I have not bought any new apps since the start of coronavirus. I did install a free one today. This will probably come at great, people are probably really, really happy about this. Those of you who live in New York City, you guys don't have enough problems already as it is, but New York has finally legalized e-bikes and e-scooters statewide. The state's tenant budget agreement includes a win for e-delivery workers and the people that are riding those pedal assist bikes and electric scooters. They've all been legalized now. So, now that you've got 20 laying on the street per block, you're going to have 50 now. So, you know, I understand why people ride these things. I do, but man, well, hey, they're pretty organized now. I've been seeing videos of stuff in New York City where all these bikes are lined up in their racks, real nice and pretty, because no one's riding them. They're not laying in the street or in the gutters or in the ditches and streams. I bet you the utility workers are happy too because they're not having to fish them out of sewers and water systems and everywhere else. People are drunk and throwing them. Instacart's going to provide shoppers with face masks, hand sanitizers, and thermometers. Woo hoo! Well, if I was an Instacart shopper, I would have already been trying to figure out a way to protect myself. You're delivering to all kinds of houses and people. Come on now. Shutdowns from coronavirus have created blue skies in California and could inform future pollution control. And so they've got all kinds of cool little videos that show the smog and the pollution having just evaporated over cities. Blue skies and fluffy white clouds have come to Southern California. So, plus and minuses there. That means people aren't working. So, however, the pollution reduction has led to higher levels of ozone at night. Ozone can also have an effect on human health and is a gas created from the combination of pollutants like nitrogen oxides and other molecules. But lower nighttime nitrogen oxides, caused in part by fewer people driving home from work during rush hour, should mean lower nighttime zone levels, but that isn't the case. While nitrogen oxide can create ozone combined with other molecules, it can also react with ozone, which happens most frequently at night. So March 2020 ozone levels aren't much different when considering the daily average from 2017 to 2020. It's a daily ozone swings that have changed, which is directly a result of a shutdown. So they're trying to figure out how the efforts to control and reduce emissions changes ozone behavior, specifically in Southern California. But despite pointing out this adverse ozone side effect, the researchers emphasize improvements in air quality have been exceptional in demonstrating that just what could happen when people work. So you're telling me pollution helps ozone? I don't quite get that, but that's what they're saying. Very, very odd. Link will be in the show notes. This was from space.com. If you are I missed something. What happened here? Did I close a window? No. Okay, yeah, here it is. Oh, I must have closed a window. So if you have slow Wi-Fi on your Android phone, they've got some tips for you. Also, top web browsers of 2020, Firefox sheds share, falls behind Edge. It was bad news again for Firefox in March as Mozilla browser shed users at a pace that left it falling behind Microsoft Edge. So according to data posted, Firefox share slumped to 7.2%. Oh, come on. Don't do a pop-up on me now. Down 0.4 of a percentage point. It was the fifth month in the last 6 months in which the browser shed users. So where is Edge at? What's the number for Edge? And I've actually got an email from Jack talking about Edge. Edge is number 2 at 13.5%. And because I hear that Edge, and I think I remember this, but I forgot about it, Edge has now built a top Chromium code, the same that powers Chrome. So that's an interesting deal. But I don't think there is a Mac version of Edge. So anyway, so some movement there. And we'll get into Jack's email here in just a second. NASA's got a cool video. This is, you're not gonna get to see this unless you go look at this at YouTube. It was the opening. Oh, and I turned down the volume here. It was the opening of the new NASA's James Webb Telescope, and they're only going to do this one more time. So they got a video of it opening up, and they've got it basically kind of supported. So it's like under like 0 G loads. So it's like there's no gravity effect. And so anyway, this is the first time that it's opened itself on its own power. And it's a beautiful sight. It really, really is. I wonder how nervous those guys were to do that. But anyway, this thing is big. Look at this monster. Look how big this monster is. It's beautiful. So anyway, they're going to do this one more time just prior to launch. So definitely want to check this video. I'll have the link up in the show notes for those of you that are listening to the show. Okay, got all kind of people are like messaging, and so there's a lot of phones being delayed. If you're expecting some new phones to come out, you're probably going to have to wait. There's a stack of them that are behind on delivery. I have a link in the show notes if you want to see which ones were which. I'm going to go over to the email I got from Jack. And he says, "Hey, Todd, I have an update for you. The new Edge browser is now running with the Chromium engine. I stopped using Google Chrome over a year ago. I highly recommend it. Here's a technician article about it, or technical article about it. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for being here. All right, so that was the only email. I definitely want you guys to consider me when it comes time to, supporting the show. Definitely want you to consider being an insider. GeekNewsCentral.com/insider. Of course, the support of the sponsor is an ongoing, continuous thing. I definitely appreciate it when you do so. But I want to thank all of you for being here and hanging out with me during the show. Those of you that are watching live, don't go anywhere. We're going to open up the call-in line here in a second if you want to call in and give people a little time to be able to prepare to do that. Let's see if I can put it up. Yep. It's going to be on Skype. GNC Pod 1 is the address. But for those of you that are listening and you can pry yourself away from watching TV, 7:30 Eastern is my goal to start the show on Monday. And we'll have a call-in live at the end of the show, which will be, around 8:30 or so Eastern time. So, would love to hear from you and just see how you're doing in general, and how working from home or how this has affected you. But anyway, the rest of you that are listening via podcast, thanks for being here. We'll see you on Monday. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And for those of you that are here, still hanging out, the caller line is now open. You can call in at KHTV and you can have a little chit chat here with your DJ host. I'm just kidding. GNC Pod 1, we'll leave it up there for, I know the stream runs a little bit behind, so we'll let you know that you can call in now. But so anyway, it's been interesting. I've actually watched the vehicle traffic drop in this town little by little. More and more people are staying home. We've got 5 cases in my county now. 2 were on Tuesday, and it's up to 5 today. So coronavirus, at least reportedly, has landed here in the county. They've got 7 or 8 cases in a jail that's here. They don't count those prisoners as being part of the county count because they are all from different counties. So they go underneath the county but they are in jail here in Branch County, and my understanding is they're removing them from the facility and moving them to a special facility in Detroit that handles prisoners with coronavirus. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I'd want to be anywhere near Detroit at this moment with what's going on there. They're completely being overwhelmed. And with this high death rate over there, they're definitely not doing a good job in treating people. So, but yeah, 5 here in my county, which still is, remarkably low, largely rural, and not a lot going on. But for those of you watching, whatever you may be, Skype GNC Pod 1 is the dial-in line. Don't be shy. And give it a few more minutes here. If no one calls in, we'll wrap this up. No sense of me hanging out here too long tonight. I am drinking it's called Bubbly. I've had this in the refrigerator for months. It's a sparkling lemon sparkling water. It's fantastic. So my goal is to drink all the healthy stuff I can out of my refrigerator. I've got a case of beer in there that's been in there a while, so that's not necessarily healthy. But I keep eyeballing the Coronas in there, thinking that maybe Friday here I'll pop a couple of tops, and but I'm still here in the office, so it's not like I can drink a 6-pack and drive home. I'd have to sleep on the couch, so maybe I'll take them to go for the house. But anyway, Greg, so how much longer you got on? Well, you guys are locked down, but how's your quarantine time going? Because Greg was in another state and went home, and he works for the government, and the government said you have to stay home for 2 weeks. Working from home can't be too bad, right? There's some stuff that he can't do at home because of his job, which is kind of funny. So I guess everyone's shy. We got plenty of people watching the live stream, but no one that wants to take a gander or take a chance and call in, which is okay. We know you're shy. Again, don't have to talk no tech or anything like that. And I'm not going to beg. All right, then. I guess we'll wrap things up. I'll get the show produced and get it out on the street. And but I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me this evening. Be back with you on Monday. Maybe I'll try a different approach Monday. Maybe I'll look for a co-host to come on with me and participate in the show. That might be kind of fun for a round, right? But I've been spending a lot of time online, so that's maybe part of it too. Okay, everyone take care. We'll see you next time here. All right. Everybody have a nice evening. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.